Without supplementary lighting, like from my 5 or 6 watt LED bulb, and just the light from the slightly open but covered with what is it? A rouladen. Not quite closed, but this is my normal setup, and the rouladen is really hard to reach without climbing over the horrible mess table behind me. But now, if I turn the light on, light's on, but in its normal down pointing position. So that's different. Oh, low battery comes up. Isn't that cute? Well, well, I just had lunch. One boiled egg with Hellman's mayonnaise. So far, half of 2 sausages. A salsiccia, Italian, and bratwurst, Deutsch. Both pig, I presume. And a little cottage cheese, a little Dorset drum sharp cheddar, a little mild cheddar, finished off a can of tuna from the fridge that had maybe a quarter or less of a can left in it, a few bites of few spoonfuls of canned peas from the refrigerator with a little of the liquid. That's also cold and something that I'm enjoying these days. And some noodles. The noodles I cooked in the water that I had used to heat the sausages, which yesterday I had used with just the oil spices packet from a package of ramen, the soup mix not, and a package worth of ramen noodles, and with extra water there also. But previously, that liquid had been used to warm about, maybe 300 grams or no, 150 or maybe 200 grams of rindertsumme, hot tongue, which I had previously frozen and unfrozen and heated, and as it was too big a batch, half of it back into the fridge, and yesterday I warmed it in this liquid and used the liquid for 2 batches of noodles. The latest one are kind of little SpaghettiOs, but C-shape, C-shape, but with a hole down the middle, so it's like a tiny macaroni, 2 or 3 millimeters diameter, and in a 1 centimeter or more, almost circle. These noodles expired in 2010. They are egg noodles, and egg may decay, I don't know, but expiration dates on food are a little peculiar. I suspect that the main drive behind them is limited liability for an insurance company Most everybody who manufactures food must have some sort of insurance, like in case somebody gets sick or dies after eating your product, and they might convince a jury or a judge that it's your product, something faulty about your product that caused their illness or death. In which case, you may be liable for huge amounts of money. I mean, after all, if it's the papa and now the family doesn't have any income, hey, that's worth $1 million, multi-million, right? Okay. So, the noodles, as far as I'm concerned, were perfectly good, even though they're 7 years out of date. Now, there's a biblical reference, apparently, which speaks of 70 years being a lifetime for a human being. 70 years. Well, so I'm 5 years past my Verfallsdatum, or best if used by. So, I'm not the best anymore, I'm afraid. I'm just whatever's. Oh, and my cigarette's gone out. Best if used before it goes out. But I can light it passively, thank goodness, so I don't have to worry about burning my mustache. Oh, and some fresh pineapple. I bought a pineapple. It was pretty cheap, I forget what, but around €1 or something. Whole fucking pineapple. Took off a top chunk, and of course threw away the spiny tree from the top, and developed a slightly better way of eating it, where I chop off a reasonable amount of the outside, just the skin, but then that leaves all these little pits, these little indentations with a few whiskers in them or so. And so what I've discovered is that cutting a slab and then cutting that into pieces, where the cuts between the pieces go through that row of pits. Half the pit on one piece, half the pit on the other piece, and that, since they're kind of in a straight line, you could have really a pretty thick slice and just cut down the line of pits, and then on each side, each pit can be cut out with a simple notch, which wastes no extra material. No, I love the fact, I mean, first of all, I naturally can't help thinking, oh, a better way, why don't I do it like that? That kind of thing. That was, in a way, that was a big piece of my profession, like how to do something better, faster, something. And so now I have invented a way of slicing pineapple that wastes the pretty much least possible amount of pineapple, and yet still gets rid of the rather unpleasant pits. Yeah, this is about the pits. This is the pits. Okay. Pineapple pits, would you believe?